Good afternoon, class. Technical Sergeant Van. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how a team I was a part of was led and managed. So, to give a little background, because I'm a visual person myself, every year police officers around the nation celebrate National Police Week, and in the military, there is no difference. This means annually a team of individuals are selected and put together to coordinate a chain of events kicking off the second Sunday in May and ending the following Saturday. So it happens every year, the third week in May. During the week, the team organizes a different activities, wing level activities, so that everyone is included. Contractors, civilians, just all DoD employees, dependents, etc. All in an attempt to promote camaraderie and esprit de corps across the community. The utilization of team performance concepts was really important for our project during Police Week. Every member on our team during the planning stage had different ideas they were throwing around the table. All of us brainstorming, little did we know we were effectively using the Z process, which was pretty cool. We discussed different levels of knowledge when it came to event planning, the resources that we'd have available, the time constraints that we'd have going against us, communications in general, how communications would come in, how they'd come out, how we communicate to the public, how we communicate to leadership, different progress checks, all communications in general. So we talked about a good amount of things in the planning stage when we first got together. Although the preferred team roles were not clearly identified or deliberately discussed, thinking back, we had each position filled to include a flexor. The team members contributed individually and all together. As the project lead, I know it was my responsibility to inspire, motivate, and to lead my team in a successful week. From the beginning, just to emphasize a little more, some performance concepts I deliberately employed were maintaining good communication. I verbally commended, and I also verbally counseled when it was appropriate. I was decisive and I made sure everyone was taken care of and they had the right tools that they needed to get their job done. I remember making sure that these are things that I focus on because I've seen teams fail previously through the lack of bad communication and not handling things appropriately. As a leader, I made sure all roles were clearly defined, and my second in charge assisted me in managing the team as well. Some different skills we use to ensure success were as simple as just getting to know all of our team members on a little bit more than surface level, and as complex as actually understanding those team members as well. Communication, I would say, thinking back, was probably our strongest quality. One of the first things we discussed were expectations, not just my own personal expectations, but the expectations from the community as well. Because remember, this is an annual project, and every year people across the community are just looking to make sure that we have a good time during this week and that things go correct based on their previous experience from the previous years. Although this was an annual event, there's no set in stone way to do it. So you literally reinvent the wheel every time, every year you do Police Week. It has kind of the same storyline, but the events can be whatever you want them to be. With that said, one example of good communication and delegation I would like to reference is one team member, unknown to me at the time, had suffered a back injury from a past deployment. I assigned him because he looked athletic to be in charge of the 5K. Well, he came to me a few days, maybe like a day after all roles were assigned, and told me although he knew he'd be able to do it, he didn't think that it would be a great idea because he was not the best person to do it. He told me about his medical issues and his concerns about the physical efforts that it takes to plan the route, and the fact that he'd be planning it but wouldn't be able to participate. So I understood where he was coming from, and I made sure I delegated the position to someone else, and it was a huge success. So I like to think back to that because he could have just suffered through it, but he wasn't comfortable with it, and he communicated that to me, and because he wasn't comfortable, I was no longer comfortable, and we got it taken care of, and it was a success. And with the 5K being the kickoff for the week, the very first thing that opens Police Week, that's a huge, it's really important to us. It's kind of like a first impression, you know, the way the 5K goes is going to determine the rest of the way the rest of the week is going to go, whether people are going to show up, continue coming back for the rest of the events throughout the week, or if they're just going to say, no, that's okay. As a leader, the manager and I also promoted innovation to get fresh and new ideas for different events we could host for the week. So as I said previously, we didn't want to stay in the same cycle of the typical 5K, then Rug March, and then Burger Burn. We wanted to do something different, so we encouraged our team members to come up with different ideas so that we can kind of break that cycle a little bit. One of the greatest accomplishments I can probably say or probably speak on for that week is that we harnessed diverseness of our group and applied everyone's skills appropriately. Some specific things we did to manage diversity was making sure it was a part of our team selection process. None of us had previously worked with each other before, and we were all a mixture of different races, age, and gender. Another specific thing we did was facilitate team building and ensured everyone worked with everyone. Similar to how Tech Sergeant Van always makes sure that we've all worked together when he's assigning our groups. Lastly, all of our project management concepts we employed throughout the week impacted us all in a very positive way. First and foremost, Police Week was a huge success. We were able to stay under budget. There were no problems or conflicts that we were not able to resolve immediately. Most of us gained new experiences and knowledge for our own personal toolbox. And most importantly, the morale, pride, and confidence of every team member that participated with us increased dramatically, and they know they made a difference. I want to thank you all for listening to my presentation, and I hope you have a good day.